Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is my first video of 2024. I am so excited to get started. I've got so many great videos planned for you for this year. Now before I start with today's video, I've got two favours to ask and two only. First one is, I find that through monitoring my channel, the majority of the viewers on my videos are actually brand new to the channel, which is fantastic, but then don't subscribe, so it doesn't match my subscriber rate. So if you are one of those people that is brand new to my channel or you haven't yet subscribed, remember to hit that subscribe button. The benefits are that you get to hear my lovely voice and watch my lovely videos all the time, but you get notified about the new content I put out, and that's not just these videos. I put out my LinkedIn live shows and also my shorts as well. Second favour, I am so much better with my Instagram now. I'm using it as a platform to not only share free tips and advice, but to also give you an insight into my life as a recruitment coach and trainer. So the handle is in the comments, at Diary of a Recruitment Coach. Give me a follow, let's connect that way as well, and I can share more amazing content with you too. So that brings me to today's video, and I recently made a poll. If you do follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn, you will have noticed I ran a poll recently around subjects that people wanted to see me talk about this year within my YouTube videos. And one of the highest scoring, if not the highest scoring, was navigating difficult conversations. So I've gone with that one first. I felt it would be the best one to start with. So I think it's important to think about, well, what makes conversations difficult? We face difficult conversations all the time in recruitment, and that is actually one thing I want to highlight, is that you are never going to get to a point where you never have a difficult conversation. I mean, I am now 10, 11 years into recruitment, and I'm still seeing in the agencies I go into situations where I think, bloody hell, I haven't seen that happen before. Actually, I probably would find that quite difficult to deal with. So get that out of your head, that there's going to be a point in time where nothing feels difficult anymore, because there will always be things that you find difficult in this job. I think that's what makes it exciting, personally. And I think it's also giving yourself a break with that as well. You know, that is the important thing. That is always going to be there. There's always going to be difficult parts of the job and difficult conversations. But what makes these conversations difficult? Can't get my words out. Well, there's a number of things, really. Ultimately, what it comes down to is you don't feel comfortable. You are pushed out of your comfort zone into the fear zone, which is, as it says on the tin, it ain't a comfortable place to be. But how we get into our growth zones and our learning zones is through pushing through that fear zone, and actually then our comfort zone gets bigger, and that is how we grow and develop as a person. So be comfortable with feeling uncomfortable is one thing I will say, but it is normal to feel this way, and it is normal to be faced with these situations. So things that tend to make a conversation feel difficult: a person's attitude in the conversation, that can definitely make it feel difficult. The words they use, you know, they might offend us or make us feel uncomfortable. It may be that we feel it's difficult because maybe it's an area we're not confident in yet, or we don't feel we've got the knowledge in yet. You could be new to recruitment watching this, and a lot of your conversations will feel difficult, okay? So it's different perceptions for different people. What I might think is a difficult conversation could be for somebody else quite a natural, normal conversation, and it could be something else that makes it feel difficult for them. But usually it's around, we feel we've got a lack of knowledge in something, confidence is low, or that person we're speaking to is being difficult, their behaviour is difficult, or their attitude is difficult. But there's a whole host of scenarios within that could make something difficult. Like I said, it's your individual situation and perception. Now, ultimately, you're watching this video because you want to learn how to deal with difficult conversations better, and that is great. And you want to do things differently. Great. That's you're in the right place. This is what that video is going to give you. But one thing I will point out is that this means that you are going to need to change. And change for some people is difficult in itself. That pushes you out of your comfort zone. But change isn't something, it's not like you're going to watch this video, you've got all the knowledge up here, and then you're going to wake up tomorrow and be able to navigate all your difficult conversations. That's not how things work. How it works is that you obviously take in the information, but you then put it into practice to embed that knowledge. So it's the little stepping stones, trying out the little techniques I talk about today that are going to build more consistent habits where you will feel more comfortable with these conversations, so they'll feel less difficult, and actually you'll find that you're having less difficult conversations because you're feeling more comfortable. That comfort zone is growing. So that's one thing I want to point out, that it's all well and good that you watch this and you're in the right place, but you have to take accountability for putting the knowledge into practice, and that comes just from doing. But don't expect to be perfect straight away. Don't be too hard on yourselves, because it will take practice. Now, I've been thinking about the best way to approach this for a couple of days now, because it is a big subject in itself and there's so many things that come into play with it. And actually the conclusion I came to was I've recently finished an amazing book which has benefited me with my business, my work capacity, how I train people, but ultimately it's actually benefited my life. And I thought, you know what, this relates so well to this subject. This is what I'm gonna bring up today and involve in this video to help you navigate these difficult conversations. Now, the book, which I've got here, is this one, The 4 Agreements, and it's by Don Miguel Ruiz. Probably not pronounced that correctly, but that is the book. It's a brilliant book. Very easy to read. I read it over the holidays. I think I read it in like 2 weeks. It's amazing. Amazing. Now, there's 4 agreements in it. They're really easy to understand. And I'm going to apply them to this today, to navigating difficult conversations, because ultimately it is an amazing way for you to deal with them better and bring a better change around how you feel and the results you get out of them as well. Because one thing I will point out is that, look, ultimately our clients want solutions. What they don't want all the time is, in these conversations, we just revert to apologising. Oh, I'm so sorry. You know, clients or candidate is on the pedestal, and we're not really solving or navigating the conversation at all. We're just trying to get out of it by saying sorry and thinking that's going to solve everything. It doesn't. And a lot of the time, they don't want to hear that, because sometimes you're apologising for something you haven't even done. So take that out of it and think, actually, if I'm going to make this a better conversation and get more out of it, I need to approach it differently. And saying sorry straight away is not going to get you there. So let's start with the first agreement, which is be impeccable with your word. This is all about speaking with integrity and remembering that your words create your reality. What we don't want to do in a difficult conversation or a difficult meeting, it could be face to face, it could be over the phone, is start saying things for the purpose of making the client or candidate feel better and to get this over and done with so I can just get back to my comfort zone. Because you could end up saying things that you don't mean and you can't deliver on. And that is not going to get you anywhere. That is going to create more difficult conversations. And sometimes these difficult conversations actually involve us having to bring things to light to the person we're speaking to highlight that actually it's something that's coming from their end that is creating the difficulty. So being impeccable with your words, it goes back to that apologising thing I was saying. Don't apologise when really you're just saying it to try and please them and get out of it. Apologise when it's necessary and apologise when it's needed and when you mean it. This is all about saying what you mean and doing what you say. And that is, if you remember that is what this first agreement goes by. Also as well, it's being very aware of how you speak about people and in what light you draw them in. So it could be that this difficult conversation, if you're maybe a team leader or a manager, involves the client or candidate bringing up a member of your team and maybe they aren't saying great things. And if you don't have all the facts at this stage, don't be drawn into saying negative things about that person and kind of using them as the scapegoat so you feel more comfortable, because that isn't being impeccable with your words. So if I was going to summarise this in one way, it's you remembering that your words create your reality, their words are telling you their reality. You only have control over yours. So be very aware of what you're saying, and actually the reality you want to create is that this conversation doesn't feel difficult. So bear that in mind. Agreement number 2, and I love this one, is don't take things personally. Now I am going to hold my hands up and be completely honest. I'm really shit at this sometimes, and this book has helped me realise that, and it's really helped me in the past month take a step back and actually see the reality around situations. Let me give you a bit of a news flash here. Nothing anybody does is because of you. It is not a personal attack. It is a reflection of their reality. And the more that you ingrain that into your brain and remember that, the less turmoil, anxiety, stress and worry that you will go through. The less a conversation needs to feel difficult. It's not, oh God, they don't like me, I've done something wrong, which in itself makes a situation feel difficult. It's just remembering that it's a projection of what they're going through. And it might not even be something to do with the work scenario. It could be that they've had a really bad argument with their partner in the morning and they've brought it into work. Who knows, right? But that is not a reflection of you. So it's remembering that, okay, I'm in a conversation and it feels difficult, but this is not a personal attack. This is not to do with me personally. Agreement number 3. Again, this is a favourite of mine, and anybody that's gone through any training with me will know that I talk about this a lot. Do not make assumptions. This is one of the most important ones, I think, and in particular in our industry. And I'm going to hold my hands up again. I harp on about this all the time, but I sometimes struggle with this myself, massively. You know, this takes work, remembering some of these things, but do not make assumptions. You have to have the courage to ask questions. You have to have the courage to ask the questions you actually want to ask. The ones that feel difficult in itself, which might make these conversations difficult, because they are going to get you the answers you need to provide solutions and to make this a more pleasurable conversation where both needs are being met from both parties. The better you communicate, the more you are going to avoid conflicts, misunderstandings, any sort of dramas within not just this conversation, but the relationships that you're building in general. I'm going to give you an example of this to bring this one to light, okay? I recently was in India training with a large group around improving their relationships with their clients and improving the journey with their clients. And there was a number of people that came up to me during the course of the conference that were really struggling with the difficult conversations they've been having with clients. They felt that the clients weren't happy with what they were doing. They were then apologising a lot and almost feeling like they were firefighting all the time. And actually, they were making a lot of assumptions about what was wrong. And what they weren't doing was bringing up those difficult questions to find out the root cause. And it was because they were frightened of upsetting the clients. It all came from a good place. But actually, from changing the position of the conversation and from going in from a different viewpoint, not taking it personally, being impeccable with their word, but asking the right questions, what did that client actually want? They were getting much better results. And actually, some of it came from having the courage to reflect back to that customer. Right, when we started the relationship, you said that you wanted more applications for your roles. Is that correct? Yes. What I'm trying to do is put in a process that's going to get you there. What ultimately do you want out of this? Success. That's what I want as well. I've used this process with clients before, and this has got them success. How would you feel about us continuing with that process to get you the success that you want and the applicants that you need? So within that, you've got being impeccable with your words. We're not making any assumptions, we're checking in on things, we're having the courage to ask questions to get the results and resolve that difficult conversation. So that's a really brief, quick example, but we can't assume. We've got to probe and find out what's going on with things. Agreement number 4, always do your best. That is all anyone can ask of you. I had mentioned at the start, watching this video and learning some of this stuff is going to involve you changing. It's going to involve you, when you're on a difficult conversation, doing things slightly differently, thinking slightly differently, which is a big theme in this video. It's not so much, well, it is about the actions, but it's about mindset as well, okay? So that involves change. Do not beat yourself up if you get on your next call, it's difficult, and you do 1 out of the 4 agreements, but you forget the others. That is still an achievement. And remember that your version of doing your best will change as you grow and develop, because you will be expanding on your knowledge, expanding on your skills. As I said at the start, what might have been a difficult conversation 3 weeks ago now feels like a doddle, and it's a different type of conversation that feels difficult. So your version of doing your best will elevate and elevate and elevate. And that is an amazing thing. But just by trying your best and knowing that you're trying your best, It will avoid you being too critical, judging yourself, which is actually what makes these difficult conversations difficult in the first place. Because in the moment, you are not in the call or the meeting, you're in your head, saying horrible things to yourself and criticising yourself and doubting yourself. If you know, for hand on heart, you're trying your best, you are avoiding all those things happening. And that in itself will help you navigate these conversations better. So that is it for today's Navigating Difficult Conversations. This is a meaty subject. Any questions you've got, anything that you would like an opinion on or some support with, the ways that you can contact me and connect with me are all below the video, and I really do encourage you to do that. Just remember that our job is a difficult one. It's not easy, otherwise everybody would be doing it. So these difficult conversations are normal, natural, they're gonna happen, and you can do this. You can feel better in these conversations and navigate them in a way that will provide solutions, but also create enjoyment for you. You know, where you're not coming off the phone or out of the meeting feeling horrible. Thank you so much for watching. Keep your eyes peeled for more videos to come soon. Remember to hit that subscribe button. I'm going to keep going on about it until I'm blue in the face, and I will see you all soon. Take care. Bye.